Carter, the author of Heartbreak, bringing you a nice YouTube live. Something I don't do often, but I'm trying to polish my chops to be on YouTube a little bit more, just like I be on Facebook and Instagram. But Facebook and Instagram, they're not popping today. As a matter of fact, there's a shortage, or not a shortage, but a down. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking and I'm seeing, it could be intentional. I don't know. Maybe some of the seeds that they've sown coming back to haunt them. But these tech companies, they get down for 30 minutes an hour, whatever the case is, and so much goes through your mind in regards to communication, make you realize that damn, like half of your communication is in Facebook, or if you're not connected to people via Facebook, if you're not reaching out to people via WhatsApp, like, are you really communicating? What other apps are you using? Because at this point anyways, when stuff like this happen, or even before that, understanding the level of technology that's actually in these apps and what they're literally doing on your phone, you don't even know. A lot of people don't even know, and I don't even want to get too candid about what they do in particular, but you should know. And at the end of the day, you kind of really want to strive to have a phone that's Facebook free for the most part, as well as some of the other ones that you know so well. Our dependency on technology these days will flip like a switch at some point. You get what I'm saying? And I was just talking about this recently, about the fact that most people don't have a set of encyclopedias at their house that they can depend on, that their children can read, and children's children can read, for edification and understanding, words, so to speak. They don't. And so we're highly dependent on the phone. We're highly dependent on things that could be taken away at the snap of a finger due to the way the system of things is set up. So, I'm kind of glad for the Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp shortage. I don't have to look at it. You might be an addict looking at it yourself, consistently looking at old stuff that is recycled from the day prior. But, definitely consider some of these technological fuck-ups as wake-up calls that can definitely, help you broaden your horizon, because even this very platform that you're watching me on right now, has certain things about it that monitors you just like the others do. And, at the end of the day, there are others as well. There always be others. The internet is big, but when you're not using certain apps or certain websites in particular, it gets real small real quick. You get what I'm saying? And so there's a lot to learn from these outages, these downs. But anyways, guys, getting on to more things. Yesterday, I did the community support live, so I got a replay of it right below in the description for you to check it out. And this is, just a conversations that I have with people that I've worked with before, people who bought my book, people on my email list in particular, who had questions and whatnot. And it was pretty lit yesterday in regards to how real the questions were, and how real we are, as men. Like if you guys can see even 10% of the things that I listen to and help men deal with, you realize how much of us are literally going through some of the same things, especially if we ourselves were never really taught how to do things that we're being challenged with in life. And so it's like when you get to OG status, where you can actually warn somebody, to number one, because warning means that you tell them in advance so that way they avoid making a mistake. And that's very rare, because most people are stubborn, and some are really destined to find out the hard way. So that, if you have that ability to use your experience to say, hey man, don't do this, and somebody can listen to it, that's a jewel, that's a gem, that's a very, very good one. But then the other one is when somebody has made a mistake, your experience of actually making that same mistake and pulling out of it, making it better, dealing with it as best you possibly can, or resolving the major issue that situation brought. Like your ability to advise others or help others maneuver through muddy situations such as those is very important. So I take pride in some of my experiences for the simple fact that other people are going through it and perhaps are having such a hard time going through it, especially when it comes to single parent, being a father, like going through the system, women who are against you, like the typical shit that most men out here are always experiencing with these women. Like when they can't control you, some, not all, the ones that seek to control you, you know what I'm saying, then it becomes a problem. And you see how quickly it's not about the child, and it's not about love, it's not about any of these things except for a level of control. Now, we call these kind of behaviors masculine because we expect that from men, but these days the way things are, men and women behave the same. So when a lot of men who consider some of their behavior to be masculine, it's kind of feminine to a certain degree. The real issue is that we're going through this, and especially young men in their 20s and early 30s, like I was when I was going through transitioning through some of these different things. It's like I tip my hat to you guys out there who really want to do the right thing, like really honestly trying to do the right thing in relationships, trying to do the right thing by your children, trying to do the right thing by the women in your life, and until you doing all the right things really fucks you over and gets you, until you start getting serious about when it fucks you over, you know what I'm saying, then you're going to realize that fuck the right thing. You know what I'm saying? It's really do what's best for you. And if it's truly best for you, it'll also be best for those attached to you. And if they don't understand that what's best for you is best for them, then they will literally come into your life and try to prevent you from doing what's best. And you can somehow, some way, in a dysfunctional manner, decide that you want to deal with them or try to convince them or whatever the case is. But the truth is, they're too dysfunctional to even understand what best is. And this is where you end up in these situations with these women who are trying to control men or trying to do things because they think that what they're doing or what they should do or what they want is what's best, when they don't even know what the fuck is best for themselves, and they didn't have the best coming up, and they didn't get the best treatment, they didn't get a lot of best that they're now in a position to withhold or control what their children gets because they're having an issue with the man. So this is a continuum for the most part. This is a part of the dynamics of the dysfunction that we experience here in this country, in this social system, this Western thinking, especially Black and brown people who are feel like we're with each other, but we're not. And the truth is, we're just not. And so, so much importance is placed on these relationships working out because we all are looking for somebody to literally be there for us on the level that we need somebody to be there for us. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult to find, and when everybody is dealing with a considerable amount of dysfunction, everybody. So it's very, and after you get a certain age, you're not fucking meeting virgins anymore. You dig what I'm saying? You're not meeting virgins, and you're not meeting women with necessarily low mileage and low experiences. You're meeting people who've been through a lot, by their own rights. A lot of trauma, a lot of drama, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. This is what you're getting. You're getting a world that's already been lacking the masculine touch. That's already been, effeminated. Like we are so far behind the eight ball at this particular moment that we don't even understand how important it is for us as men to really snap into the work of our purpose and becoming who we're supposed to be, instead of consistently adjusting and reacting, you know what I'm saying, to the whims of women. It's crazy, but like that ain't what you want to spend your life doing. Like it's unhealthy as fuck, and many of us, that's what we're doing. And of course everybody has this dream idea about becoming this perfect parent sometimes, and like you don't become perfect parents out of imperfect situations. What you become out of imperfect situations is the best you can get it that leads to peace. harmony, success, and various other things. But you it's the best you can get, and not perfect. And the reason why that is because nothing's ever perfect. Number one, but number two, when you're starting off on shaky grounds with somebody, or even building on shaky grounds, until you solidify the grounds and the foundation, so to speak. Like, you're not gonna build very far. You might be able to get something until the weather blows in another direction, because your foundation is not firm. So these are some of the things that people have to learn to live with, and learn to just get real about. When it comes to what we're dealing with in certain relationships. It's great that you have high aspirations. It's great that you want to do the best, and you want to do the right thing as a man. But if you have lived the majority of your life not even knowing what's best for you in the first place, you need to go figure that shit out before you're trying to do what's best for everybody. If your leadership hasn't really, been sustainable, let's say, for example, I have my own personal situations. I can tell you, and I can literally do the math straight up of when certain women were working with me, the successes that came from that versus working against me. So it's like, if you don't have like a track record of saying of leading in a certain direction and saying this is the results, you know what I'm saying? When you were following my orders, when you were, when I was taking the lead, when I was responsible for these certain things, and you were cooperative with the regime, whether you like it or not, but cooperative. Success. This is the success. You get what I'm saying? So now, if when she's cooperative with your regime as a man, you have no success to point to, you know what I'm saying, where she does, it wasn't benefiting her. You get what I'm saying? And she wasn't becoming a better person, or elevating her standard. Like these are the things that generally women are looking for in partnership. So it's like, you gotta have a track record of that, and when you do, and you know that you've done good work, and you know you've provided good leadership, and you know you've been there, and it's not appreciated, respected, you know what I'm saying? But you see, because sometimes appreciation, even the woman that appreciates you, everything you do, is gonna have those moments. She's a modern woman. She's gonna have those moments where it doesn't seem like she's appreciative of it. But respect now, if it's respected, there's a certain reverence that she carries with her all the time for who you are as well as who you're becoming. You get what I'm saying? And these are major important things that matter in how a person feels about who they're dealing with. And men, since we're attached to those feelings, so to speak, that level of respect, like, I don't know why we're so attached for it from a desire. I mean, it's a masculine thing, but in a world where women really give that to you, yeah, they give you some appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then. But respect is truly rare. And you want to be respected for who you are. And it is a certain way that every man wants it, according to his uniqueness, who he is. You may, like, let's say in the love language kind of thing, where you may be looking for a woman who communicates to you or gives to you, if you like, physical gifts, or, cooks for you, or, you know what I'm saying, words of affirmation, speaks to you a particular kind of way. Like, everybody has their own way of how they like to receive what they're getting. But the bottom line is, you want to be receiving, and you want to first be in a position to give and to share and to lead in a way that is pleasing. You get what I'm saying? Like, not pleasing in the sense of makes her feel good about she's in agreement with everything every single time. Nah, that's not the point. In any leadership, that's gonna be that they're gonna have issues. But the point is, when they look, those underneath your charge who are working with you, cooperating with you, going with you, when they look at what you've done together, they're pleased with it. They're happy from where they came, and that makes a difference as a man. It really does. And our ability to talk about these things and even see these things within ourselves, because I've been there, at a point where, on the real, like, I'm doing all these different type of things, bending back, going out of my way, coming out of pocket, inconveniencing myself, doing stuff for people who are going to turn around and tell me that they felt like I'm obligated to, under what fucking rules? You know what I'm saying? People will take from you and say they appreciate you in one tone and then turn around and disrespect you in the next, which shows that appreciation was just tongue in cheek. You get what I'm saying? Somebody who really appreciates you keeps the respect level at where you deserve it. They treat you how you show up, essentially. So, you know what I'm saying? That really matters in how the level of respect that a woman will have for you. But the truth is, if she ain't got it for herself, even if you come to her respectively, you're going to get disrespected. And you're going to have some kind of learning curve, understanding that this is the nature of this beast, wherever she came from, whatever she's been exposed to, this is the conditioning. You understand what I'm saying? And I said beast, and within literally meaning that animalistic part of us that gets programmed by our conditioning or sociological conditioning in our environment. It is beastly in some ways. You get what I'm saying? Because if you are addicted to certain things for pleasure, it's really hard to undo yourself. You've been trained to be that way. So in many cases, people are trained to be unappreciative. People are trained to be disrespectful. People are trained, and the highest of the high when it comes to relationships, for the most part, in particular men, is like, if you could submit yourself to a path that leads to success, then a woman should be able to submit herself to the path that leads to her learning you and learning how to please you. You get what I'm saying? Instead of coming to the table with this calculative, mentality where she's taking an algorithm of averages from all the people that she's been with, not really respecting your uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? And a man's ability to know himself really allows for him to deliver his uniqueness to women in these situations. But, it doesn't change the fact that most of us get caught up in these situations with people in trauma bonds and very toxic relationships and have a problem bringing our true selves because we don't really know ourselves that well. You get what I'm saying? And then we have a problem dealing with the person who doesn't know themselves, and she's just a reflection of you in many, many ways. So, the work that you do on yourself doesn't guarantee that you get somebody else that works with you, but it guarantees that you can disclose yourself, you can show yourself, you can be yourself, and what you've learned from this process allows for you to essentially be able to do that with somebody else. Knowing and smelling your own bullshit makes you perfectly able to smell somebody else's bullshit. But now being able to communicate that, babes, you smell like that. That's bullshit. That you got to be able to communicate it instead of not being able to communicate it or being afraid to communicate it, because this is where we're at in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are not seriously ready to meet their destiny due to habitual behaviors, and that can apply to almost every single person who slacks off towards their purpose when they know it, who has things to do and don't do it. You get what I'm saying? But when you have people who are just totally disconnected, it's easy for them to stay stuck in that sunken position. So, we need messages like these and messages that we're getting in the manosphere to help us move out of these spots, because for many men, even when you're trying for the best, you're still trying to entertain or please women. And I find that to be a very, very dysfunctional trait that we all adapt to somehow, some way, because we're so conditioned to appealing and feeling validated through our accessibility to women. So the more women we get, or the more attention we get from women, the more we feel better about ourselves, more happy we feel. But when you're working towards your purpose or whatever the case is, and nobody knows and nobody understands, and you're making progress, that should be the real goal right there. That should be what's the driving force of self-esteem and motivation for you, and it can be. Successively hitting your goals. Those are, trust me, they're better highs than any kind of sexual relationship that you can have with a woman who's not going to be here in a few more months. You get what I'm saying? and how you know whether this woman is going to be here with you in a few more months? How willing and able is she to get behind that purpose that you've manifested in your life? That's a real serious question, because sometimes it takes a while for her to get behind you when you got a head full of steam in a particular direction. But it's all based on your ability to communicate the kind of help that you need. So you gotta have a certain level of maturity within you and leadership ability to let somebody know this is what we're doing. And she's gotta have a whole lot of special assets and attributes and talents and divinity, as well as chemistry, compatibility, and various other stars aligning for her to want to get behind you in that fashion, knowing that it also serves her purpose. You get what I'm saying? Because there's sometimes when a woman can get behind you and and dedicate herself to that purpose that you're manifesting for all the reasons that it benefits her, but also for all the reasons that it benefits you. When she knows that and is not afraid of getting behind you for the benefits that it will bring to you, this is a real person. You get what I'm saying? So don't think that they just out here everywhere. And when they are like that, there's a lot of dysfunction and trauma that we as men and women, who are those women, are carrying with it, that keeps it from being as authentic as it possibly could be. So, these are things that we have to get real about as far as where we are in the people, as a people. So, anyways, guys, I ain't gonna make this too long. I just wanted to jump out there because I felt like I wanted to record something. I would have normally done it on Facebook, Instagram, so one of those platforms, but I decided to come to YouTube because YouTube's up. But not only that, I wanted to do this more often anyway. So this is just real talk. I do one-on-one coaching. If you don't know, you can get that at heartandbreak.com on the Work With Me tab. I work with men, and I do it from a metaphysical perspective. So that means you do need your DOB, time and place. And we do that work, and I can show you how your life's purpose is supposed to manifest according to your design. And trust me, if it sounds like some crazy stuff, you'll know right away. But most of the times, I'm telling you, almost 99% of the time, it aligns. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta